How's it going, guys? Voice of Reason back for another edition of my video game reviews. This video actually should have been up a week ago, but because of my summer graduate school and the midterms and whatnot, it got kind of busy for me, so I apologize for that. Anywho, as you guys can see already here, that I will be reviewing Nintendo Wii's latest boxing game, which is Punch-Out! Before we begin this review, I just want to briefly cover the background of Punch-Out! Now, Punch-Out! Is a boxing game for the Wii, and it is the latest game in the Punch-Out! Series. Now, for those of you who don't really know Punch-Out! This series, the very first Punch-Out!, which was named Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! And later then re-released as Punch-Out! Featuring Mr. Dream, was released back in 1987. So, I'm not quite sure if you can call Punch-Out! A re-release, or a sequel, or just a remake. But regardless of that, there has been, I guess, technically two Punch-Outs! Already, but it was pretty much the same one for the first two releases. So with that out of the way, let's start talking about the plot of Punch-Out! Now, knowing Punch-Out! Is a sports game, not many sports games do tend to emphasize on the plot. And if you guys remember the past Punch-Outs!, you play as Little Mac, as you guys can see right here. Pretty much as an up-and-coming boxing star, and you just pretty much just work your way up the ladder and defeating from easy characters all the way up to the hard characters. So, in terms of the plot, it's nice to have, it's nice, it gets the job done, but don't expect anything mind-blowing here. So, but yeah, the plot's really nice, and of course kid-friendly as well, and pretty funny sometimes. Now let's talk about the core component that makes Punch-Out!, which is the gameplay. Now, what makes the gameplay so addicting is the fact that it's so user-friendly. I mean, you can easily just start picking this up and you can start playing. It's just that simple. The game uses three different control schemes. The Wiimote and the Nunchuck can be used together with the player, or you can actually just use the Wiimote alone. And there's also a third option, which you can use the Wii Balance Board that can be used optionally along with the Wiimote controller, as well as the Nunchuck to dodge or duck. Now, let me just get this out straight. Punch-Out! Is not a boxing simulator. It's an arcade boxing game. So please try not to compare this game with Fight Night Round 4 or UFC, that kind of stuff. Do not compare it. You're just going to be disappointed if you go into this game thinking that it's going to be so realistic and whatnot. This is a fun, Nintendo, of course. This is a fun Nintendo arcade game, and it's just a nice nostalgic look of what and how games used to be, and how games used to be so fun back in the 80s in regards to Punch-Out! But going back to the gameplay takes elements from previous Punch-Out! Games featuring the star punches, as you guys can see right now, from the NES game, while also featuring stamina recovery from Punch-Out! Super Punch-Out! It once again uses the round system of the NES game, featuring 3 rounds per opponent, with commentary, and players progress in one of 3 ways: by successfully KOing their opponent, by earning a TKO after knocking down the opponent 3 times in one round, or by winning via decisions. Players can store up to 3 stars by punching their opponent at the same times in order to perform a powerful star uppercut, which makes for a pretty cool ending to a fight. Anyways, so the gameplay, like I said before, and the plot, you work your way up the ladder, starting from the very easiest of the characters, working all the way up to the very hard or difficulty of characters. Now, for those of you who do remember the original Punch-Out!, and you guys are noticing some of the actual original characters in the new Wii Punch-Out!, you are correct. There are some new as well as some original characters, especially everyone knows King Hippo. And likewise, you also have pretty much the exact same patterns in which you would normally defeat these opponents. What I mean by patterns is, like, everyone who's played Punch-Out! Before, everyone knows that you have to hit King Hippo in the stomach. Okay, and it's going to be different for other opponents. This is the weakness that I think Punch-Out! Has. It's that every character has a pattern. It's always going to be the same sets of punches, and then you have an open spot. It's always going to be the same little taunt before the punch, so it gives you a hint, and it also just starts the pattern or the routine over again. Now, I think, for the first time, playing through Wii Punch-Out, I think it was pretty cool. It's very difficult at some times, but going back again, it kind of takes the fun out of it, knowing what exactly is going to happen. And once you know how to play the opponent, it's pretty much like, oh, okay, this is just what I've done before, and there's nothing new to it. But like I said, it doesn't really take away from the excitement of actually playing this arcade boxing game. So don't let that discourage you guys if you guys do end up going out and renting or even buying Punch-Out after this review. Now let's mosey on over to the graphics. Now, as you guys have been seeing here, pretty much all of the graphics of Punch-Out is going to be cel shaded, which is very nice. There have already been a couple of games that Nintendo has released that have been cel shaded, and one of the best things about this is the animation. The animations are just gorgeous in this game, especially the personalities of each and every character, which is another one of the strengths of Punch-Out. I forgot to mention this in the gameplay, but each of the opponents has such a unique and hilarious personality, and the animations that they have to them just adds to the whole experience of the graphics, the gameplay, and everything. And I just think it's one of the best looking Nintendo Wii cel shaded games to come out pretty much this year so far. I know I'm going off topic right now, but I just think Nintendo needs to kind of go off the cel shaded for a while. A lot of their video games are now becoming cel shaded. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's because I hate to say this, but maybe it's because it's the only way for a Nintendo Wii to look good, especially in terms of the graphics. I've talked to my fellow gamers and friends back at GamePro about this, and the cel shaded, it looks great. No More Heroes was awesome, it's great, but that was like more than a year ago, and they're still in the same pattern of cel shaded graphics. And I really think Nintendo has more power than a cel shaded graphicing or processing unit. I know, we all know, I mean, Mario Galaxy looked great, and that wasn't cel shaded. So maybe if they can lay off the cel shaded for at least maybe 2 months, we would be fine. But that's just me. That's the end of that rant.
Are you ready? 'Cause I'm gonna put on a show.
Well, I told you guys, these guys have awesome personalities that just adds to the whole Nintendo Wii Punch-Out. So altogether, guys, it's a great game. It's a great arcade game, not a boxing simulator. It's a great game, so you can just go rent or even play by yourself. There is a multiplayer, which is a good thing. And like I said before, the only thing I do kind of have some beef on it is the fact that all the opponents do have patterns, and once you've beat the game maybe once or twice, it does get kind of repetitive, but not to the point where it's no good anymore. I mean, still, it's fun just to watch the graphics, the animations, the presentation to be just thrown at you at the same time. And overall, it's a great game for both young and old video game people. And yes, I will admit that this is a pretty good hardcore game. So all you hardcore gamers out there looking for a good Nintendo Wii game to play, this one is it. So until next time, guys, take care. How's it going, fellow gamers and friends? Voice of Reason here again. Say, if you guys liked this video you just saw, be sure to check out my other YouTube videos on my profile. And while you're at it, if you haven't done so already that is, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're more adventurous enough, you can also find me on my MySpace page. Send me a friend request and join the gaming chat. Till next time, guys, take care.